what they need, is basically that shining, that vehicle that's going to take them to better places and bring, their this one's for Jerry, bring their mom into this space, because we need more people. And we should want to be better and build better products, and that's what's being built here. And that is going to be, it is a tougher road than to copy and paste. And if we look at, the LayerOneX virtual machine, it's built from the ground up. It's not a copy and paste. That's a labor of love. And I wish Merkel Root was here to talk about that a little bit. But maybe you can speak to that a little bit, Chief. But that alone right there just shows the commitment to building, a better product for the space, so that the space is better.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think it's important to say that during the hackathon, Kevin actually got on the stage for a while there, and he actually had the code up on the screen.
Yep.
Now, until now, very few of us had actually sat down and gone through the code, even in the office. Definitely I've done it God knows how many times, but so I was okay with it. But seeing it up there for the first time on the big screen, it was just such a good thing to see that happening. We also got a little bit of feedback, interestingly, from one of the guys that came along. And he said to me, he said, "Do you know?" He said he was a developer, and he's a developer for another chain, and this particular chain sort of goes by a shape, and I'm sure people can work out the name from that. And he said, "Do you realize?" He said, "You're really starting to make waves at this chain." He said, and not just that. He said, they're jealous. He said, but they're also scared. And I think that sort of sums it up. But getting Kevin up there on the stage and having him show the code, and no, it wasn't all the code, of course. It's not what we do. But the key, it comes back to that we want to be successful. We want to provide for our future, for everybody's. But it's more than that. It truly is. It's not just about being successful in our own right. That's not what we're focusing on here. And this sounds like a heck of a statement, but we want to provide a solution that will benefit mankind. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We want to give control back to the people, to allow them to control their own finances, their own data, the whole lot. By uniting all those chains, we can really allow this to become a real world use, not just people in the crypto world. We want it to go to people who are just everyday mums and dads. Your mother, or Jerry's mother, isn't it? I think.
I
I
think
can't
so.
remember who it was.
Yep.
Yep. It's just something that we're excited, but we're not getting our name out there enough. We never will, until the whole world knows who we are. And that comes from everywhere from Africa through to the Darth, through Asia, through the US, through Europe, the whole lot, South America. And it's interesting because I think I've mentioned this before, that we did catch up with a guy from the United Nations. And I'm sorry for everybody if I'm repeating myself, but it is a bit early here still. And they want to provide a solution to address the $700 billion problem of people who are sending money overseas being ripped off for their fees. That sort of thing is really, that feels good, that we can actually provide a solution for that. It's just that sort of thing I love.
Yeah, no, that's I probably speak on this too much as this, and I would encourage everybody to look this up. But Metcalfe's law, or Reed's law, talks about the value of a network being, the users in it, and that's what powers technology. And so, speaking of that, I see Merkel Root is here. Merkel Root.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Good. Has been long since I was on the AMA, and I messed up with my time, but I'm here.
Well, it's good to hear from you. Have you are you having chicken curry tonight? Did you play your patented card of getting your meal that you wanted?
No, it has been great. I mean, since I'm come here, I've been meeting friends, families, but more importantly, the opportunity to spend some time with the developers face to face has been great. A lot of insights, from non-L1X developers about the problems they're facing, and amazingly, whatever they're saying and whatever we were thinking were the problems, and what we did research on, and whatever we spoke to other developers, they all are the same, and they're very excited, to get to know more about L1X and um, how we can push this forward. So yeah, it has been good. Apart from speaking to the devs, I've been spending some time having some curries. Yeah, but pretty exciting stuff here. We nailed
Yeah.
the hackathon down,
Yep.
so I'm very happy.
So you weren't here when I had said this a little bit earlier, but the thing that really stood out to me was that you said, "Come join us in building this protocol," and that's something I like because like I always have believed that the success of a project really does rely like on the community and their their ability to power the technology and to tell other people. And that to me that really spoke a lot to me because um, I was hoping that you would be on this call because I wanted to ask you if you feel like if somebody had come up to you and said, I really want to be a part of this. How do I dive in, and help you build this? And so, did you have any conversations like that with anybody? If you can share that.
Yeah, yeah. I think, mainly these were Web3 developers, because when I, spoke to them, they were mainly focused on the application side of things. But interestingly, many of them, were asking me about the core protocol as well.
Mhm.
And there are various ways where I explain to them they can build with us. One of the example which I demonstrated live was the ability to have smart contracts on the L1X system or the protocol, and how they could take any type of a smart contract, such as a health based smart contract standard, and propose it on the protocol. So all the way from there, or even for example, when we launch the wallet, there's going to be a community edition to that, where they can clone the wallet, they can make changes to it, and have it for themselves or for their clients. So there are a couple of ways they can join in, and I think everything has been scheduled when Chief was going through the roadmap, where by the end of June, which is this month, I mean the coming month, we'll be allowing the developers to come in, start building the smart contract standard, working with the wallet. And come July and August, when we do have the enclosed mainnet side of things going, they will be able to use all the features that are already there as well. So very interesting, because more importantly, these devs are trying to move to the core protocol level, because everyone I spoke to was very keen on moving to the core protocol rather than just building the application. So I think I do see a lot of shift from developers to the core protocol side of the things in India, and I'm very keen to see how we can tap into that knowledge base.
Yeah, I think you had said in the past that the bulk of blockchain development does happen in India, and so clearly there's a number of talented people over there that are probably overlooked. And I hope that we see those people, kind of the diamond in the rough, come and join and build, and integrate into this protocol, because I think that's really what's going to transform it, because we never know who that one person is that you talk to, that that one person that you kind of has that epiphany or that light bulb moment, says, oh shit, like really. And Chief was kind of speaking to that, where like everybody says it a little bit differently. Mind blown, the oh shit moment, or the my mind's just that light bulb moment. But we never know who that person is. So I think the thing to treat every person like that one person could be that person that pushes the project over the hill, and instead of, you know, pushing that digital boulder up the hill, you're all of a sudden riding it down on the other side, you know, and it's everybody's jumping in and saying, oh yeah, I was a part of this from the start. And but really truly, you know, treating everybody with that good respect, and where Chief was talking about it, you know, not locking people out of the system, but inviting them into and being part of this whole experience. And so good to hear from you, Merkel.
No, all good.
Speaking of user experiences, what's up, Doc? The wallet user experience, Cryptonaut. How are you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing well, thanks. Thanks.
Yep.
It's been a ride, that's for sure. So it's been fun seeing it. I was over at in India as well, with Chief and Merkle Root and a few
I
others,
saw
and it
you
was
were quite a bit bigger than everybody there.
and it's about a different shade of color as well. So
Yeah.
it was I definitely stood out, that's for sure. But it was fun seeing the wallet put to use with the developers. There were some good demonstrations there, and I'm excited, like Merkel was saying, like where these devs could potentially take the experience with even using the wallet that we've created for them. So yeah, a lot of good things moving there as well. Got some updates that are currently being worked on as well with some of the developers. Being able to be there in person was fantastic to
Awesome.
talk to them one-on-one, and it was great to see how they interacted with one another and get that. So I'm really excited for some of the things that we had chatted about to come to fruition. So
Yeah, that's awesome, because like if you know, just it's so easy to be disconnected in crypto and not meet people. So to see like the meetup in like at Consensus and Miami, and then is it's pronounced Pune, right? Pune, and then Dubai, like that's awesome, because like the ability to actually legitimately like sit down and see that, oh, okay, Cryptonaut's actually a real dude. He's not this astronaut thing here. But I really like that. And that's a lot what's missing from technology. But like the ability to use this technology to bring people together and make them a part of the system, that's what I'm really keen on. Is because like I've wanted like this industry to move forward for so long. It seems like nothing's happened, you know. Stuff has happened, but like it just seems like it's moving so slowly in the last few years, and it seems like it should be a lot faster, a lot faster. And then, you know, to see this like firsthand from the front row, like all this development happening, you know, it's really exciting. So
I think it's also good to point out, and actually with Cryptonaut, I don't know, maybe do you need to change your name to Space Cadet or something? No, look, we've taught Cryptonaut a little bit about Australian humour as well, and I think he gets it. He's got a description for me which I can't repeat on air, but which is all good. But I think for me, the sort of things that stand out is that we envision a decentralized world, okay, where that power is distributed amongst users, and we're doing it at speed. And this is something that hasn't been seen around for a very long time. One of the things that Kevin brings to the table, which is just so refreshing, is his desire to do this and do it properly, but to write that code, and don't sit there and take, oh, it's going to take us a year to write this, or it's going to take us another 6 months of research before we can actually start coding, and even then we're not sure. And these are the sort of things we've had developers tell us. But in reality, it actually doesn't take that long if you've got the right skill set and right focus. And believe me, when Kevin codes, he focuses. It's actually just an amazing thing to watch.
I would echo that. Seeing him up on stage was awesome. Being in his element. When he said that the hackathon, we nailed it, I think it was both Chief and Merkle Root both nailed it. And I mean, they definitely know where this thing's headed, and they've got a clear vision of it. And to see them in their element is unbelievable. And I recommend that anytime L1X ever ever advertises an event in your local area or close to you, I would highly recommend going to one because it is amazing.
And it's rumored that Chief actually has a body double on the team for security purposes.
No, but we certainly need to have security. I think I've got the body for a double.
Uh-oh, your mic cut out.
We actually had some security there because I think it was necessary for crowd control. But yeah, I think I am the body double.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were Red's body double or he was yours, so my apologies. Speaking of somebody who can't have a double, Big Turns, I see you're here. How are you doing today? Big Turns? Uh-oh.
Sorry,
Studios
can you hear me?
down. Oh,
Yeah,
you're good.
yeah. I had my mic turned all the way down. I was like, what's going on? Hey, how are we?
Awesome. I know Big Turns has been a little bit under the weather, so
Yeah. Do apologize. I'm on
you're good,
the
bro.
mend. But yeah. Well, we've been sort of deep in it. We've sort of discussed this before, but a lot of our roles do blend into other responsibilities at this stage. So it's been wild. We've been busy. It is exciting because, like they say, it's like, one day in crypto is like, months in the normal world. And so very much so, it feels like even just the developments we have is within, LayerOneX, within the marketing team, like they drastically ramp up day by day. So it is hectic. I'll say that much.
Well, good to hear from you, Big Turns. Take care. I was going to talk to Red One. I know there's some Discord changes and some updates and some ideas on some things. So still unmute, Red.
Yeah, I mean, there's been I guess a few since you've been here, but we do have an off topics channel that we can talk about some other things, post some news. Been doing some history in there myself with some this day in history of different things that happened. We are working on some updates with the ticketing system. That should be looks like everything's complete on that. So now, if you need help with anything, you can select a topic or a category. That way, it gets funneled to the people who can actually handle that situation, as well as the mods to be able to monitor it and help out as well.
Nice.
And we've been looking into possibly putting in a suggestion channel.
Is there a channel for dad jokes? Grover wanted to know.
Dad jokes.
Yep.
Well, that could be what the suggestion channel would be good for.
We'll put a private one just for you, Bull. We won't tell you that it's only you in it, and then you can go ham.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Red.
That's pretty much it for the moment. I think we've been exploring any activities or been looking into any games, poker nights, or anything like that. I know there's one poker bot that will allow people to do a sit and go, and so you don't have to spend much time with it. But I know Big Turns has some good ideas as well to start getting involved with the community, and marketing is definitely looking at getting the community involved with some opportunities. If anyone want to share any of that information.
Yeah, definitely. So So we are experiencing the calm before the storm right now because we're sort of getting all of our ducks in a row, and
Weird expression, isn't it? You ever line your ducks up at home, or
yeah, I mean, always it's a common occurrence for me, but so
ducking
yeah.
around? Okay.
We
We do
just-
know
we
that. We
just
do know
said-
that dad joke channel, don't we?
It's right now. You didn't know?
So yeah. What was I saying? So yeah,
Getting your
so
ducks in a row.
We're getting the ducks in a row, and that's the important thing to state. But essentially, we believe that we're going to see the community is going to see a step up in the marketing output, as well as some of the initiatives, activities starting to kick off, giveaways next week. So that's why it's quite busy, particularly this week, because we've sort of been holding back. We haven't opened up the floodgates yet. It's important that that the efforts are released in full force opposed to trickling in. So I believe unless anything changes, everything's going to start rolling out next week. So you'll see some action on the front. But yeah, I mean, for us, what it comes down to, obviously it's important, and what Red is discussing there largely is retention, and how do we keep people entertained once they're in the Discord and feel like there's enough to do, and ways to learn further about LayerOneX and our tech. The AI bot is a great example of that. People are able to come in and query the bot directly, and it can give them general information about the virtual machine. So we're obviously working on better retention strategies, but just as importantly, and this is probably the most exciting thing, and when we get this right, everything else falls into place. But our growth strategy and how we're going to acquire many more users, bringing in a bunch of different people from all different channels, growing all of our different channels. When the community sees that growth take place, it's super inspiring, and it gets that buzz going back again, which is exactly what we're looking to tackle leading into the public sale, because obviously this is an exciting opportunity. It's obviously not every day that you get to an opportunity to get into a layer one solution from the ground floor, particularly. And this is the crazy part, particularly this fourth generation blockchain technology that's basically going to leave the rest in the dust.
Supercharged, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't even have to stress about the wonderful thing about LayerOneX is we don't have to stress about convincing others to come to the dark side, right? Because we're going to be with X Talk, we're going to seamlessly integrate with all these blockchains. We're gonna provide solutions between these chains, so people along the journey between chains, they're gonna come through us, and that gives us the strength in volume, and the blood supply we need for an ecosystem. So it's virtually like impossible with that strategy in mind to not have what we need, the resources, and the assets we need to develop into a full-blown ecosystem and become the next big thing. So it's essentially inevitable, and it really does excite me, and I know it excites everyone here, and that's sort of what we're heading towards. And so we just want to make sure that that we're doing it justice. And the great thing is Kevin and the team and the dev team, like, they're insane at what they do, and the tech has been brought along so far, and so now it's just as much about, because like there's no question about that. Everyone that knows anything about crypto, as soon as they sit in a room and see what is possible, their jaws drop to the floor. And so there is absolutely no question about that. This is obviously a game changer. But
Yeah.
the thing is now is, how do we communicate that to the world, and how do we
Yeah.
allow
I think
people
one
to
of the
understand?
important, big turns. I think one of the important things to remember is, like, we don't have to rely on other people to talk about the things that we're interested in. And, like for instance, me and my wife, we love to meet people that are enthusiastic about the things that they really enjoy in life. Even if we don't know anything about the topic, it's that they're enthusiastic about it and they seem to know a lot about it. And that's why I say everybody in the audience here, everybody that's in the community that's listening to this recording, you've taken the time to, see what the project is about, to listen to these AMAs, to, read in the channel, to read the documentation. But, have you taken that time to really strengthen the contribution that you made by telling other people? Because that's how that's how the network grows, right? Like the team can pay for ads and this and that, and all that stuff is on the way. It's in there's a very detailed plan that's being built and set up right now, but that doesn't mean like we have to wait for other people to do things. The best way to know that you're actually participating in your own life is by doing shit, like going out there and telling everybody like, hey, look, here's a project that has tremendous utility, the most utility we've ever seen in this space. What do you want to do? Do you want to park your money in scam projects that are pump and dumps, that are clones like I talked about on Pulse Chain? People will do that, but you have to have some type of investment in your life. And when I say investment in your life, invest in the education to learn what can be accomplished here without being told what can be accomplished. And I'll go back to something that Kevin said that I really do like, is that when you ask a question to somebody, it's hard for that person to answer you without them knowing what you know about that particular topic that you posed a question about. It is really best to do your own, this is said ad nauseum, but I don't know if people actually do it, the DYOR, do your own research. We do need to do our own research, but what does that really mean? Like looking at like the competition, like, and seeing what they have, what LayerOneX has, in respect to that particular attribute. What happens when all of those attributes that LayerOneX has can synergize and put us above that competition, in an exponential type of way? That's not really for us to tell you. We can talk about that, but the reality is it's the research that you do, it's the digging that you start doing and figuring out like how these pieces fit together, that's going to have that light bulb moment for you. Sure, somebody up here might say something, you'd be like, oh, okay, wow, I didn't think about it that way. But how many times in the time that you've been in crypto, have you actually looked at and done some research and said, oh, holy shit, like really, like now my mind is racing, like how can I get more involved with this? How do I learn more? How do I see, how do I position myself better so that my contribution can actually, potentially see, where I want to, be in a year or 2 years or 5 years. It's investing in education, investing in yourself. That's how you learn a lot.
Hey,
Big Greg, I just want to add as well.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, just there's two things to consider when you're actually going out there and doing your own research. That DIOR is to look at. First one is confirmation bias, and then hype. Now, how many projects out there do we know that have just that they've ramped up on just pure hype with no capability, and then looking at confirmation bias, which is really where people look to find the specific answers for their question. In other words, they're not doing their full research. They're coming up with the answers and then trying to justify those answers. Do that comparison. Truly do it against the other chains. We've put a few sheets out there. Pull them up, have a look at them, and then just do the comparisons of our capability, and then make your decision from that. Don't sit there and go off the hype that's out there, because it'll never work out. Go off something such as LayerOneX that is actually really going to deliver solutions that will change the world.
I love that. Can I share a story that I had
First,
an experience with on this latest trip? It was amazing while I was there at the hackathon to not only see Marco Root and Chief do their thing, but also be able to talk to a lot of the different developer and projects that were there as well to see how we could help them synergize with LayerOneX. And that was amazing. But the most probably influential thing for me of the whole trip was when I was on my way back to the States. I flew through London, and as I was walking through, making my way to my gate, I happened to come across an older gentleman that was on his iPad, and I happened to notice we have a lot of EMP type of community members in L1X community as well, and I happened to see EMP pulled up on his iPad, and he was going through doing his little claim thing or compound thing, and I walked over to him and I just kind of introduced myself. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm not afraid to talk to anybody. And so I just walked up to him and just said, "Hey, what that looks interesting. What is it?" And I just kind of played dumb and didn't really identify myself either. And he said, "Oh, this is EMP." Walk me through it. No joke. Within like 2 minutes, he's like, "If you think this is cool, you got to hear about this thing called LayerOneX." And then he proceeded to sell me on it, and it was an interesting 5 minute chat with him. The he told me to listen to these AMAs, and I told him that I would definitely check the next one out. And so he said that he comes on. So if he is on here, you know who I am now, and you know who you're talking to. But it was really good talking to that guy because Chief brought it up earlier in the conversation as well as Big Turns. They talked about the importance of community and having strengths. And for me, being halfway around the world to be able to run into somebody that has that commonality with me, um, where we're not even at a conference together, right? It just happened to bump into each other in an airport of all places. Be able to see that and go up and be able to have that conversation and to see the love and passion that he had for both projects that he's passionate about. I mean, that's what a great community can do for people is that it gives them that passion. It gives them that autonomy to become brand advocates for the crypto project that they're in. And I love seeing that. And so that was an amazing experience that I had.
yeah, that's ridiculously cool. I mean, and I just posted that the world really is smaller than you think, right? It's we think there are so many people, but um, that's what I mean by this in this off chance that you saw that Cryptonaut, like, and you were able to connect with that person, and they passionately shared that with you. And that's why I point out, like, that's why we never know who that person is that we're speaking to that could push a project, over the hill, and to rocket it to success. And we in this house, in my house, we treat everybody with that same type of respect, where it doesn't matter who you are, your profession, your job, how much you make, how little you make. And because we always want to treat people in the most respectful manner and put them in the best position to be productive, happy, safe members of any type of community that they're in. So that's an amazing story. Well, we're down to a couple 10 minutes. Are there any questions, maybe, or comments from anybody in the audience today? Anybody? Anybody?
That means we've answered all the questions. Everybody's good.
Oh my gosh. um,
Yeah, I think
Fantastic. This is just getting out.
one of the things that I'd like to mention is while I'm speaking to these group of developers, I think we've found a sweet spot, amongst them, and that's a great thing because um, the developers, or I mean, they only are advocates for certain types of technology. And what happened is Ethereum, and the smart contracts they provided, maybe, the way they get into Web3, but it doesn't let them, extend their skills in any way. Polkadot tried to do it, but the problem Polkadot had was they made it so tough for businesses to use it. Even the developers who wanted to learn Polkadot did not see any use case coming out of their skills. So I think what we were demonstrating to the developers, and in my conversations with them, they are pretty keen to put their skills to actual use cases. For example, the interop or the xtalk, where you can have your wallet as your login for your websites, and all your data will be collected in that smart contract standard. So I think things like this, or even the developer portal, they actually see where, even though the protocol is as technical as it comes, they can see that if I do something here, I do get something out of it, which is learning, earning, and growing. So that learn, earn, grow, thing has stuck into their mind. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to add that in doing that, we're actually handing back control to those developers as well. They've got the ability to as Merkle said, to learn, earn, and grow, and that's personally that they'll start earning more. That they won't just be working for some mindless big corporation. They'll be developing projects and products that will benefit themselves and their family.
Thanks, guys. Could I ask a couple questions so that we can? Oh, okay. Good has a question here. How many first edition NFTs were minted? Will additional first edition NFTs be minted? Will the next versions of NFTs have a max to match the first edition? All pertaining to each blockchain interoperability NFT. Anybody want to tackle that?
Yeah, I don't know the exact number. It's a few thousand, but yeah, I don't know the exact number.
Okay.
Yeah. From memory, I think it's around about 3,000. And we are looking at, we will be doing some more NFTs based on those chain connectivity. And I actually just had an idea earlier today, which I want to run past Merkle Root for a very, very special NFT. And I think if it comes off, it'll be a piece of history, absolute piece of history.
Like I said, we started this off with a lot of ones. There's a lot of firsts. Speaking of that, El Fuego has a question. Like many others here, I'm very excited about the potential of L1X. However, I'm also extremely concerned about security. Is the team planning future hackathons that are more technically in depth? I'm sure we would all rather see a third-party hacker get paid a bug bounty than experience a liquidity drain and end up in the news. Maybe this one is to Merkle Root.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a good question. The problem is, this hackathon, like we call it. I mean, the word hackathon allows you to go and build, test, or see new features coming up, and that's exactly what we did. But, anyways, because the way we've designed the whole architecture from ground up, there are a lot of security related stuff that we've already looked at. But in the next hackathon, which we are going to do somewhere, let's say in before the launch, sometime, we will be able to have the already existing smart contracts or certain parts of the code which will be made public for developers to go and break it, or participate in the bug bounty program. Yeah, so definitely there are opportunities there before the launch as well, and that's going to be an ongoing thing as we keep updating the network, as well. Before it's put to use, it can be put out there for review.
Yeah, that question and that answer kind of reminds me a little bit of when like Bill Gates went up there and did a keynote speech on the new Windows, and it was a blue screen of death, or when Elon Musk went up there to talk about the unbreakable windows in the Tesla Cybertruck and crack the window. And that is a really good point to constantly be stress testing the systems, and I'm sure that you're going to be all over that, Merkle Root. So
Yeah, I
I think
mean,
we can
when
go ahead.
when I was demonstrating it, I pressed the enter and I walked away because I know it was gonna work. Because the
Mhm,
reason it's gonna work is because I built it, and
mhm.
it's not really been tested. It's been, we've thrown different use cases at it so that it works. So yeah, there will be opportunities where things don't work, but it's not going to be significant enough, where the whole network can go down, kind of a thing. But we'll try our best to make sure that we cover up all the aspects.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's important to point out as well that other chains out there have tried to do what Kevin and the team are doing there, and after 4 years, they've still failed. In 2 years, and that includes writing the white paper, we've succeeded. There's a huge difference in the capabilities, I believe.
Yeah, I think the real power lies in the ability to bring those elements or those attributes together and have them create a synergy that can't and doesn't exist on any one blockchain. Where I know we've talked about this idea of who the competition is according to this attribute, et cetera, et cetera. But when you start talking about putting all those pieces together so that they work in unison, that's a really powerful, system. And I don't think anyone, so somebody said that they were that people should be scared. I think everybody should be happy, because if if my mom, I'll say it again, if she can get on and make a purchase, I know that crypto is mainstream, and then I'll know that LayerOneX succeeded, because that's who we need to bring in here. We don't need to bring in, the person that's been here for 10 years. We need to bring in the person that, is using Amazon to shop. And, to bring on, those people that never thought they would be in crypto but wanted to be in crypto. At least that's what I think. Um, let's see. Biblex has a question here. Can other chains boycott L1X even if the tech is incredible? Is it something like that possible, Merkle Root?
I think it would already have happened,
Mhm.
if that was the case. But the problem is everyone is too busy, doing their own stuff, and the biggest challenge is
Mm.
because the vision and the technical architecture, the specifications, everything is so different to each other. It can be tough who's going to lead it. So even if two chains come together, um, I mean, who do you trust to lead and who do you trust to verify? So I think that's something that could be a problem, not even technically. It could be, a fundamental problem in itself. So I don't see chains coming together themselves to, kind of building an interoperable thing, because if they did that, they wouldn't be able to focus on, their own stuff.
Yep. That key element.
That's a
Yeah.
that's a very good point as well. Is like, they're not in the game of trying to build out, and deviate from what they're doing already. They've already committed so much to where they are, and largely a lot of their value is attributed to their ecosystem. And that's why Ethereum is as big as it is, despite lacking in areas that it could be better. And so that's where LayerOneX comes in, and it just joins these cities that have already been built, and naturally, it's everyone will come.
And look, I think it's important to point out that if they could do it, they would have done it by now. And it's the same when you look at we've got our obviously the decks coming along as well, and that's really good to see. It's been pretty exciting. I've been a little bit out of touch with them over the last few days, but seeing where that's going and the capabilities there, just imagine the headless decks, the one decks to rule them all. That's the sort of capability we're bringing. We've got all the others coming along, other projects. We had quite a few of them come up at in the hackathon, and that was actually really good to see where those I think Merkle described it another way. Rather than developers, they're actually innovators. And these are the guys that actually come out and come up with the ideas, the projects, and then bring them forward and say, well, we want to do this. And we go, yeah, we can do that. Yep. That's the key, is we can do that.
And I think along with that, from a user standpoint as
They can do it.
well, is yeah, I mean, they can definitely influence our connectivity to other chains as well, because if there's mass adoption in there because of the standard that we're setting for protocols now, you know, they want that layer of trust. They want to know that it has a certain standard. And as a result of that, they're going to demand that these chains connect with Layer 1X to keep things going. And a lot of these blockchains, if they recognize that, they won't want to cut us off, because then they'll cut off parts of their community and they'll lose people, which I don't think they want to do. And it goes back to what we've always been talking about. We're not here to compete against them. We're here to unite them.
Yep, exactly. I think we'll end it on this note, and to wrap up what you said there, Cryptonaut. Crypto Psycho L1X investor points this out. Social media users, music lovers, gamers are what will bring adoption, not the techie crypto jargon. And you know, just what you said, it's the people that kind of aren't in crypto, but something that a unique, easy experience that's fun and safe. That's what's going to bring the users here. So everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. Season 1, episode 11 of LayerOneX. A lot of ones again. Wherever you're at in the world, hope you're going to be safe, productive. Have a good day, good night. We'll see you back here next week. Thanks to the team for being here, of course, and everybody in the community. And safe travels to anybody